Hello, this is Winston Cunningham. It is September the 8th, 2025. To be or not to be? In the beginning, we were each given everything. And then we developed these physical bodies and became entrapped. And so we're all in the process of reawakening to who we really are. Of course, the physical existence is but a camouflage. It is a diversion. And the diversion, the original intention of creating a physical body was to have a place to learn, because up until that time, we were learning through observation before we took on the physical bodies. But we got caught up in what we created and were distracted, and so the part of that phrase that relates to this is not to be. Not to be means to be distracted, caught up in the having fun and missing the entire purpose of life, which is to learn about ourselves. And each experience provides a little bit of learning about ourselves. But to be or not to be, it's occurred to me many times that may be the only question, not just a question, it may be the only question, or maybe the most important one anyway. So to be is to let everything be. You've heard "Let It Be," even a song popularized that concept. Let it be. When we put our attention on communing and being with what is, rather than the distractions, then we are choosing to be. And most people, it's changing, but most people are still caught up in the physical existence only. And it is beyond the physical existence where we discover who we really are. And there's 144,000 different parts to that. I can't detail them all at the moment or at any moment. I can detail some of them. I'm acquainted with part of myself, and how much there is left to learn, I don't know. But more and more I find that I am pretty much turned off by just what excites most people. They're caught up in the noise, the hoopla, the games, the popularity, the current fad, all of these things. And none of those things interest me. I went through some of that at a much younger age, but even when I was growing up, I can remember thinking, well, what's going on with all these people? They weren't thinking like I was. And I thought I was the weird one. But now I know that I knew more at that age than I knew how to admit. So, if you can imagine this, that when God gave us each everything He had, well, this means essentially that we and God are not separate. We are not only united, but it is the essence of God is the I am in each one of us. I am. And I did a talk on the 3 pillars of purpose. I can, I have the capability, I will, I have the intention, and then the understanding comes with I am. I can, I will, I am. Those are the three major stages of our development of understanding, at least in an overall sense, who we are. Now, the details come through each experience. And each experience gives you a little bit of a detail. And that's what interests me most. I don't care much for what most people care for. Now, I find I like peace, and I spend a lot of time alone. And I spend some time talking to other people, because I go to the YMCA every day, and I enjoy that. But I did a couple of weeks ago about addictions, and most people are addicted to their distractions. You see people just walking down the street or walking anywhere. Unfortunately, a lot of them have, their attention is not on relating to their environment or people in the environment. Their attention is on the distraction that they carry on their hip and that I'm talking into now. Or worse than that, they even have the Bluetooth thing stuck in their ear. And so they're addicted to the entertainment. And what I have realized is that as we relinquish the need to be entertained, then we turn the switch on to receive unlimited entertainment from the universe. So I am constantly entertained because I choose to be rather than not to be, which is being caught up in the latest fad and the confusion, the diffusion that occurs. I'm seeing shadows. I'll let in as much light as I can. So didn't study how to take out the shadows, but at least you can hear what I'm saying. To be or not to be. We pay attention to people. I think it was Shakespeare that said that. And he was given credit for understanding and portraying the understanding about some key elements of life. And so he's well known. So he must have had some great understandings. And lately I've come across videos of people or about people that are well known that are talking about the same things that I am. Einstein was one of them. Tesla was another, and a few well-known psychics like Edgar Cayce. I've seen talks about these people. They had come to understanding in different ways the same things that I'm understanding. So, as a person begins to understand more about what is, then they lose interest in the distractions, and that's what's happened to me. I don't need the distractions that I once did, because I'm realizing that the only reason I needed the distractions was because I was trying to be like other people. I was trying to fit in. And trying to fit in means you're having to deny a part of who you are to be somewhere you didn't really need to be. Well, a need, that's another story, because it is our need that sets into motion what we will create. And I did another talk on that, so I won't go into that too much here. But just to state it clearly, that if we, our life is created according to the need to understand. We will have experiences that lead us to understand that need and fulfill that need. And as we overcome these needs, we can teach the understanding. That's what I'm doing here, is teaching the understanding, or talking about what I understand. Whether somebody hears it or not, I don't know. That's not my job. My job is to give. And today, I want to, I hope, paint a clear image of what it is to be and what it is not to be. It is easy to, on the way of figuring out what we want, first we make a long list of what we don't want. And our attention is on what we don't want. So we're inadvertently creating more of what we don't want. But as we begin to understand more of who we are, then our attention is more fluidly invested in the spiritual growth pattern, which is to understand more of the self. Because we were given everything in the beginning. Now, how much of that do I understand? More than I did, but there's more. When I reach the point to where I understand it all, then it'll be time to go. I know that. But I'm staying invested in learning, and I don't know that there's a hurry, and I don't feel like I'm in a hurry, but I'm getting to the point to where I appreciate being rather than just being distracted. I'm appreciating that. So I put all of my time, most of my time, into understanding. And I'm in the process of, when I experience something, a new person maybe that I want to see how it can help, or at least how I can acknowledge what's going on. And there may be a point, and there is, of just letting that go. And if a person does not want to accept what I have to offer, then I need to move on. It's like Jesus said, as you go about, and he was talking to his disciples, when you go to a new town, if people are not receptive to what you're saying, then shake the dust off and go on your way. And when you come across the receptivity to what you're saying, he says, stay there till you go there. So that's where my attention is to stay with an experience until I understand it enough to say, well, I want to keep this, or I want to let it go. I want to be this, or I want to move past this, because I don't want to be stuck in the not to be phase. I am in the process of learning to be. To be or not to be. This is all. I'm Winston Cunningham. Thank you.